I think that's something I've really enjoyed as well as learned a lot from. But I think it's a great way, especially if you don't have work experience yet, or you even just want to learn about a new area of tech. It's a great way to get experience from that. So just being able to choose a problem that you're interested in, like the Spotify optimization algorithm, that was just for me because that's something that I enjoy. But it can be anything. And from that project, I learned things like clustering, similarity algorithms. And then from the viewer voice one for social listening, I learned about what UI and UX design. That was completely new to me as well. So yeah, I think that's a really great way to gain some experience in an area that you haven't, I guess, had work experience in yet. And it's something you can talk about in interviews. It's also, especially in the world of consulting, where they kind of decide who's being resourced on certain projects and stuff. If, say, for example, there's a project coming up that's on forecasting and you know about it, and you've done a personal forecasting project outside of work, you can say, hey, I have experience in doing this from my forecasting project, and that means you're more likely to get resourced on that project at work. So, yeah.
100% agree. And I think one thing to even add to that is, as you mentioned, with personal projects, people generally don't think that they can mention some of this stuff in interviews. And I know when you said, when I went for my first internship, this was the first time working in a professional environment, came to the interview stage, and our CV and cover letter department at my university, but they were just talk about the stuff that you do. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm an environmental science student. I'm in my second year. I've done projects and within the course on this, and this. And I said, but also I've got a creative platform that I run that promotes sustainable fashion and sustainable living with young people. And they were just like, oh wow, that's so incredible. And they were asking questions about that. And it's a really nice way for you to stand out as a candidate because for another role, when I went back for my master's and was doing another placement, because as I always joke, I didn't know what I wanted to do after university, so I stayed there as long as I could. But even with that, when I was going for the interview stage, the CV person that was helping me then was saying one key story that he heard a student say was they went into an interview and just said hi, I'm this, I studied this at university, and then they just dropped oh yeah, I was also in a documentary that looked at this, and find ways around it like that. So yeah.
I think it will enable us to do a lot of things that were difficult before, we couldn't do before. But of course, there's always going to be that side where if people use it incorrectly, it can have a lot of damage on 100%. Society. So especially as with deep fakes, there's so many things have come out of that. I think it's going to be interesting how the laws around AI come into place. I think there's always going to be a lag. So unfortunately, it tends to be until something really bad happens, then laws are really implemented and kind of adhered to.
100%.
But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out.
No, definitely. But yeah, we're going to go on to the next question, which is all about your experience in NLP. So how do you leverage your experience in NLP to foster diversity and social mobility within the tech sector?
Yeah, so I'm really passionate about diversity and inclusion kind of in the tech space specifically. So I'm really involved in kind of volunteering as a mentor, so things like the Increasing Black Representation program and PwC's diversity mentoring scheme as well. And as opposed to kind of NLP specifically, probably more about kind of sharing my experiences as a data scientist. And I think one of the key things for me is kind of building confidence in mentees to kind of access those spaces and get into those industries. Because I think that when you see representation in that field, it's definitely encouraging and inspiring. I definitely at the Black Tech Awards and the Every Woman in Tech Awards, it was I don't even know how to explain. It was really, really a great feeling just to be able to see so many women and so many Black individuals doing amazing things in tech, because day to day I don't really see that many of us. So it's I think just being able to kind of help build other people's confidence and help them kind of get access into the space, whether that's through interview prep, CVs, kind of speaking with different people in that industry, having those connections to get an idea of what career you want to go down. Because at the end of the day, when you see an internship description or just any job description, you don't really know what it is until you, I guess, speak to someone that works in that area, or you've worked in that yourself. So yeah, just being able to kind of give that insight into kind of tech for other students, and then also speaking engagements. So again, another platform just to be able to share your experience, talk to people about what data science actually is, what the different type of roles there are in tech. So even as I mentioned before, until I kind of entered the industry, I didn't know there was a distinction between machine learning engineer, data engineer.